Hi, welcome everyone. My name is Franz Hong. I'm the co-founder and CEO of Boodle AI, the creators of Boodlebox. We're totally pleased today to have Andrew Paslay of the Peer Power Foundation here with us today as our guest on the AI Collaborative. Welcome, Andrew.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
Great. Can we start with just a little bit about your background? Who are you and what have you done?
Sure. Yeah, my name is Andrew, obviously. I am the director of marketing for Peer Power. Peer Power is a nonprofit that hires college students to serve in the classroom in high schools. And on top of that, I'm also a filmmaker. I live in Los Angeles. And yeah, so I do a whole bunch of stuff. But I really enjoy my work with Peer Power. And I enjoy seeing the results of our impact and telling that story to the people. So, yeah.
Great. Well, we're obviously here today to talk about collaborative generative AI. Would love to hear about your generative AI journey. We were chit-chatting about that a little bit
Yeah.
before we started the webinar. So how did you come across AI and how did you uh, begin using it?
Well, I was actually kind of scared of it, to be honest. I was, like I said, I'm in the film industry, so I saw kind of what it had the capability of doing and, um, what areas of my job it was taking over, kind of. So I really wanted to understand it. So when ChatGPT got really popular, I started using it and seeing what I could do with it. But it was very surface level stuff. It wasn't really, I wasn't in depth with it. I just knew it could do, write an email or something like that. So I started trying to incorporate it into my marketing job with Peer Power. And that's really how I got started. I was just learning it. I just wanted to learn it.
Great. And how did you end up moving on from there to where you're at now? Because you're using generative AI pretty extensively.
Yeah, so well, like I said, I was taking baby steps. It was helping me with post copies for social media and things like that. Um, but when I went to the nonprofit pro in Baltimore in December, that's when I met Boodle, Sean Olds, and Daniel Mullins, and it really changed things for me on how I could actually use generative AI in my job. So I just started playing around with it, especially because you guys have so many different options all in one place. Because everything else that I was doing, if I was generating an image or if I was going to generate copy, I was going to all these different places, and it was kind of overwhelming, and it almost felt like it was a whole thing. If I had to actually create something with generative AI, it was so involved. Now I have the capability to just do it all in one place, have my team there, all this stuff. So yeah, I mean that's where I'm at now.
Great, great. Could you share a specific example of a fundraising or marketing campaign that used generative AI and what happened with it?
Yeah, so I've done two fundraising campaigns since I have started using Boodle, and the first one was like 21 days after I was using Boodle, and I saw a 95% increase in donations won from the previous year.
Wow.
And the second one was our spring break camp fundraiser. And we saw and are still seeing it grow. As actually, I had a donation come in yesterday for it. 151% increase of donations won from the previous year. And so those two fundraising campaigns, I use generative AI. Um, and the first one with the holiday campaign, I was using stuff before Boodle. I was going to ChatGPT, I was going to Adobe Firefly, all these other places. But it really hit me when I got to Boodle. I could actually like understand how to, I guess, take my campaigns to the next level.
Mhm.
So yeah, so that's where I was at with those.
Yeah, so we talk to nonprofits all the time that are interested in using generative AI. Different people are at different places in the adoption curve. Some folks have, like you yourself, wholeheartedly embraced it, are comfortable with it now. Other folks are still right at the beginning of their journey, even at the stage of like, gosh, is AI gonna take my job? I'm really worried
Yeah.
about that. What advice do you have for somebody who's kind of at the start of their journey? And then I'm going to come back to your campaign and tie it back in.
Sure, sure. So I would say look at your goals. Look at your goals for your organization, for your workflow, but also look at your weaknesses in your workflow. See how generative AI can help you in those areas, because that's really what I did. I was looking at, and this is what really changed for me, is I kept trying to generate things, but I wasn't really like reflecting on what I was doing and using Gen AI for, or my workflow. So I started kind of seeing what campaigns were not working, why were they not working, and having Gen AI and Boodle actually feed back some information to me that I was able to use in my next campaigns. So if you're really looking for advice, if you're just new and you're scared of it like I was, I really would just, take a moment, reflect on your goals, reflect on your weaknesses, and see, feed that into Boodle or Gen AI and see what comes out.
Yeah. So what do you mean by feed it into? Can you go into more detail?
Yeah, so I would say I would go let's just see. So basically if I was to reflect on a weakness and I say, okay, this campaign didn't do the numbers that I wanted it to do.
Mhm.
What I would do is try to understand why. Well, the click rates weren't good on the email. The open rate was low. So now I'm going to go and tell Boodle, or I'm going to tell Gen AI, um, hey, this email that I sent, and I would put, give it, that information did not do well. Can you tell me why? Can you show me a better way to approach this? I want more, open rates. I want more click rates.
Yeah.
And then I would allow it to give me some feedback on that. So that's kind of what I'm talking about.
Got it. So literally, right, whatever, this isn't like applying this guy, like I need to learn to use AI. It's like treating AI like a peer, like a
Yeah.
coworker, and asking it the same kind of question you would if you had, a fellow marketing director there, asking it like, here's an email, here's what happened, it didn't do well. I
Yes.
want X, I want more clicks, I want more donations. Give me suggestions.
Yes.
Is that literally what you did?
Yes. Yes.
Got it. Got it. Um, and
There's
I
so
think
many
that's
other things, but that was the main thing that I think helped me for sure.
interesting. Yeah, I bring this up because I think for folks who are just starting their generative AI journey, they're like, oh, it's got to be a whole thing, right? Like, how do I need to be trained. I need to talk to the AI a certain way, or I
Yeah.
need to like, get all this fancy, I need to become like an AI expert. And
Yeah.
your advice is actually different, which is no, just work with it, right? Ask it the
Yeah.
questions you want answered.
Yeah. It's a way of approaching it that just really helps you build on something, build on your weak points, build on, something that doesn't work. I think a lot of people will think of Gen AI as generating post copy. They'll think of it as like creating an email for me
Mhm.
or things like that. But really, with the bots and things like that in Boodle, you can do so much with role play. You can do so much with the different types of Gen AI that is in that one space, that having them communicate with each other, having them generate something from your weakest point or your failed campaign or not failed campaign, but like a campaign that didn't do so well, it can really help you. It could really build on that.
Yeah. So, you mentioned using different bots. Can you talk through an example? So I know you've um, enhanced your communications with your donors and supporters using Boodlebox. Can you just talk through like the method by which you did that?
Yeah, so let's see. So like I mentioned just a second ago with the role play bots, I actually I gave a role play bot. I think at the time, I don't remember how many you guys had because this was early on when I first found it.
Yeah.
But I was giving it information about our donors. And I was saying, hey, this is a donor who hasn't given in a year. But the last time they gave, $500,000, something like that. I want them to give again. And so what do I tell them? What do I say so they will give again? Do they want to hear an impact story?
Mhm.
Do they want to hear the whole picture of our program? And it based off of different types of people. And I would feed in information about like if they were well off or if they were a recurring donor or something like that, but they stopped their recurring donations. I would give them all kinds of information. I would give, Gen AI all kinds of information. And just kind of assessed what it sent me. And I used that to communicate with the donors.
Yeah, so you essentially, in Boodlebox, there's hundreds of bots of different roles.
Yeah.
There's bots, there's dozens that are specific to the nonprofit sector. So you selected one of these bots that had a particular role, and you just engage in that conversation with it, providing
Yeah.
information like you would a coworker.
Yeah. And it was really interesting too, is not only did I do that with supporters, but also wanted to do it with the students that we serve.
Hmm.
And we started a program called First Gen Fridays. And our leadership team was in a meeting, and I said, okay, I'm going to open up Boodle for this. Excuse me. And we gave a generation college student an identity. It came back, it gave itself a name, it gave itself, all these other things that, were related to a first generation college student, what it needed, what it wanted, so we developed a program based off of that. We developed a program to help first generation college students based off of what this role play bot was helping us understand about them.
Oh,
So
that's
that was
fascinating.
really fascinating.
Yeah, so that's admittedly a more advanced use case, but a really powerful one where you give the AI an identity, and we have character bots that we have a bot literally called character bot where you can assign it a role, like you said, and it will take on that role of the hilt, and it can be anything you want, and then you can ask it questions and get
Yeah.
its opinions from that perspective, which is a really powerful use case. So let's go back up to kind of like to the team level.
Yeah.
What are some of the benefits or efficiencies you found by integrating AI into your nonprofit operations?
So there's been I mean a lot. Um, for me, I think ideation. I think actually for our whole team, ideation is helping with build out our programs, like I mentioned in the First Gen Friday thing. It's helping us, it's helping me develop the ideation of campaigns. Even when a small idea comes in, like we need to develop a flyer or something like that, what goes on the flyer? So there's all these, you know, tasks that need to get done that normally would take, a day or two, maybe a week, that we're now doing in, 5, 10 minutes, where we're getting the first part of it done in 5 to 10 minutes, the hardest part. And then we are using the information that we're given and we're kind of working in our magic, giving it our knowledge base, and then putting in what the actual numbers need to be if they're different,
Mhm.
numbers come back or something like that. So really, I mean, it's a whole organizational thing right now. Like even our grant writer is using to help with proposals. And I even gave her the same advice that I'm giving to new, people using Boodle AI or Gen AI. I was like, hey, why don't you take some campaigns? Why don't you take some proposals that didn't work and put them through here and see what happened and see if it can give you some advice. And so yeah, so we've been doing all kinds of stuff.
Great. And just curious, what were the results? Did she give you any feedback from that process?
She's I don't remember the specific results, but she definitely saw ways that she could improve. I remember she also said, oh, okay. So one thing that she said it was going to take her a really long time was she wrote 1,000 word part of the proposal, and the proposal asked for 500, and she put it in to Boodle and said, can you make this a 500? And so
Yeah.
it came back. It was exactly what she needed, and she read it and proofread it and made her edits, and then she put it in. And she said that would have taken her hours, just
Yeah.
trying to figure out what to cut, what's important, what's not. But I think she met with Daniel Mullins, this one of the sales reps here in Boodle, and she said that he gave her some advice on how to insert knowledge of her writing style and use that when she's coming up with new copy for these grant proposals, which
Yeah.
has really helped her.
Yeah, that's great. Yeah, no, I think one of the concerns we often hear about from people about using AI is I don't want it to sound like AI, right?
Yeah.
Or I want it to sound like my writing style. And so the ability to upload knowledge and ask the AI to, hey, write in the style the document I just presented you is a really great feature.
Yeah.
You've kind of mentioned this before. You're clearly not just using AI by yourself, Andrew. It's not you sitting in front of a
Yeah.
screen and then getting results back. You're trying to make this collaborative um, between your team and AI. So what strategies have you used, right, to foster that collaboration? And why is that collaboration important?
Yeah, so I was all in on Boodle when I met Sean Olds and Daniel Mullins at Nonprofit Pro. I wanted them to be my team because I don't know, the people watching, if you're in a nonprofit or organization, introducing a new system is so difficult sometimes. If you have to have a password and a login for something new, your team is going to have trepidation. They're going to worry about I don't want to do a new system. It's going to slow us down or whatever. So I wanted to show them like this could really, change and speed things up. So what I did was I actually had Sean Olds come and speak to our organization. They were wild just like I was, but I wanted to make sure I wanted this to be an investment. So I gave all of my team members assignments and I said, okay, here's a 5-minute Boodlebot assignment. And I would give them a bot or I'd give them, a chat to do in
Mhm.
Boodle, and that was related to their department. So grant writer got the grant writing bot. Our Peer Power Institute got the data systems analysis or data analysis bot, things like that. Um, my digital marketing manager, I was like, hey, chat to this YouTube bot to see like YouTube content creator and see if there's something that we can do to help our YouTube channel. So I was like doing that, and I did that for a week and a half to the point where I felt comfortable with, okay, they're now introducing it into their day-to-day workflow. And I'm hearing my team say, thank you for introducing. This has really
Yeah.
changed everything. I'm seeing it in our programs. They're really, they're developing programs. We even had a spring break camp, the fundraiser that I talked about. We actually incorporated it into the program, Boodle AI. We were having the students help, build their resumes on it. We were showing they even created an ACT prep rap that they filmed and stuff like that. So, I mean, I'm just telling you, we're just having a great time with it.
Yeah, uh, your enthusiasm for this is contagious, Andrew. And so we actually teach an introduction to collaborative Gen AI class online several times a week. I also teach a how to lead Gen AI training class. We've actually borrowed and used your examples of ways to get your team to collaborate with generative AI as
Oh,
examples of
cool.
best cases, like best practices. So I tell people
Yeah.
all the time to do what you did.
Oh,
Um,
that's awesome.
yeah. So let's talk about workflow. So I think one of the challenges of using generative AI is like, how do I incorporate this into my workflow? Somebody, I heard there's a quote somebody said that AI isn't here for your jobs, but it is here for your drudgery. And I
Yeah.
think there's been some notes in the comments already. People would love generative AI to do the the automate, all these administrative tasks. So,
Yeah.
how has using generative AI Boodlebox, right, impacted your team's workflow and have you been found a way to automate some of the administrative tasks?
Yeah, so I have a story on this. My CEO, Courtney Richardson, is a certified instructor in a leadership training called Working Genius. And it's a thing where the acronym spells out widget. And I am my working genius is D&I, which is discernment and invention.
Mhm.
And that's kind of like those D for discernment is like I really like to build on things. I like to
Yeah,
make things happen, get things done, stuff like that.
yeah,
My working frustration, so there's working genius, working competency, and working frustration. And so my frustration is wonder, which is the brainstorming meetings, the big ideas. I just want to get to the point and get to where I can make it happen. So what Boodle does for me is it wonders. So it takes my working frustration away from me so I can, and actually turns it into my working genius. So now that I've given it the brainstorming, I was like, hey, come up with this idea, come up with this, I need slogans for this, things like that. It will feed back to me the thing that I really love doing, which is making it happen. So I think that's like the best example I can give. And I think if you do have, your working frustrations and you can really pinpoint them, you could easily figure out a way to have Gen AI assist you with those points in your workflow.
I love that, Andrew. I love that. So one final question, then we'll go to Q&A.
Sure.
What advice would you give to other nonprofits considering implementing generative AI in their operations?
So I think I kind of answered this in the first question. I think, looking at your goals and looking at your weaknesses, I think those are the two
Mhm.
things. You know, if I can just expand on that, my goal for 2024 was intentionality. I wanted to be intentional about how I reached our donors, what the call to actions were for certain donors. Um, so I would say, if you want to go in that route and you want to start being intentional about your campaigns, about your workflow, just examining all of the different parts of that, all the different weaknesses that you have and the goals that you have, and start, one at a time, just one day, 5 minutes, figuring out something that would take you a long time to figure out. And whatever, Boodle or Gen AI generates for you, it might not be the perfect thing, but it might be the perfect format. It might be the perfect way to like, something might click. Like for example, when I was doing the campaigns, I realized that in all of the things that were coming back with the role play bots and stuff, that there was always a simple ask of to donate, which I for some reason in all of my campaigns before that, I wasn't putting like asking for the money. I was just having a donate button below an impact story.
Yeah.
So I was like, why haven't I put this in the post copy before? Why haven't I
Right.
even said any of this? So it's just like, something will spark. If you just put what you're weak at or you put what your goals are, something will spark for sure.
That's great. I love that, Andrew. Okay, let's open it up to Q&A. So attendees would love to get some questions from you. Feel free to um, put something in the comments, or if you want to raise your hand, we'll open up the microphone for you to talk with Andrew directly. We do have a comment here, a question from Kyle, but how do you set up integrations with CRM and other tools to receive inputs and provide valuable outputs? So this is a question. How do we what you do with generative AI and other existing systems and tools? Because obviously there's not a native integration, right?
Hmm.
There's got to be like some sort of workflow integration.
Yeah. Let me see. So what I would say is, if you have metrics already that you can kind of feed, like I did with the campaigns that I had before, you can also, you know, look at what you're trying to do or what you're trying to achieve holistically, and then start putting in piece by piece. That I don't, like I don't know much about putting, having Gen AI go into other platforms. Right now, for me, it's just a sole standalone thing, and I use it to help me figure out things that I don't, particularly know. So, I think that might be a better question for, Boodle to help you figure out instead of for me.
Yeah, no, what I would say is so every CRM allows you to put outputs, right? And you
Sure.
can generate reports. If you can generate a report, then you can output it into a Word, a text file, right? And that can be uploaded into a generative AI platform like Boodlebox. Now, generally speaking, large language models don't deal with pure structured data. So like an entire spreadsheet or a donor report, it will
Mhm.
probably struggle with. But if you've got something that's more report-based and text-based, right?
Mhm.
That can be uploaded and you can talk to it. I do think that in the future, we're going to see better integrations. Claude 3, for example, you can literally upload like snapshots of reports and it'll integrate. And in fact, even in BuddhaBox, you can upload an entire annual report and it'll absorb it all and use it as part of, this musing, this role playing, the use of the bots. So
Yeah. I think
yeah,
with this, the whole automation piece, like I think, something like Zapier can work with different Gen AI platforms and things like that to help you create stuff. Um, but yeah, I mean, like Francis said, you know, creating reports and figuring out how to do that. I think even like there's coding bots on, um, the Boodle platform. You can help, get help coding and stuff like that. And if you have a tech savvy IT person or something like that, and they can create some automated workflows, and there you go.
yeah, great. Other questions from the panelists? Let's see here. Well, Andrew, is there something that we didn't ask you that you wish we had, or something you'd like to talk about that we didn't cover?
No, no, I really enjoyed this. I love that you saw my enthusiasm, and I hope it's infectious. I am enthusiastic about it and what it can achieve for peer power and for my career. And yeah, I'm really excited. I'm really excited about because I still feel brand new to it. I still I'm learning new things. And actually, I'll never forget. So the campaign with the spring break, where we saw 151% increase, it started with Daniel Mullins. He messaged me and he was like, "Hey, I got this new feature. I want to try it out on, can we meet?" And I was like, "Sure." And it was the new chat feature that you guys were implementing where team members can join the chat together. And so he was doing some general knowledge things, and then I started inputting knowledge, into the knowledge bank, peer power stuff, and I was feeding in information, specific things about my notes with my CEO. And then I will never forget the shocked look on his face when he saw what came out after it, because it was so specific, it was so detailed and everything, and it was like, how did it know? How did Boodle know? And it was just so funny to see, a sales rep just shocked by his own product,
Yeah, no, I love two things that you said. First, we are still early on. This is brand new technology. There's kind of this belief out there among some folks that if you haven't adopted Gen AI, you're behind the power curves. Totally not true. I talk to organizations all the time. 90% of organizations are at the phase of, I know I should do this, but I don't know where to start. And frankly, that's why we built BoodleBox. The second thing is, it is an interesting technology in the sense of we don't know everything it can do. And sometimes the only way to find out is to try,
Yeah.
right? And sometimes amazing things happen. You discover new capabilities inside the platform. So
Yeah.
Andrew, let's wrap up. If people want to learn more about Peer Power, or if they want to contact you to hear about your generative AI experience or to mind meld with you, how would they do that?
Yeah, you can email me at andrew@peerpowerfoundation.org. We also have a website, peerpowerfoundation.org. Yeah, we've got all kinds of programs going on. At our core, we're a tutoring and mentoring program, but we've got a lot of workforce development stuff going on. So yeah, be on the lookout. We've got some great stuff coming up.
Great, thank you. Um, Appreciate your time today. Everyone, thank you for joining us on the AI Collaborative. Best of luck in your Gen AI journey. If we can be helpful in any way, please feel free to reach out. Thank you for your time.
Thanks.